We currently have around about 1,300 gas lamps that British Gas look after. The majority of our gas lamps are here in Westminster. The team that look after it have got 4 lamp attendants. The 4 lamp attendants go round to 1,300 lamps, so they've roughly got 400 each that they look after. A third of them, 400 of the lamps, will have windy clocks on them.
So we've got our main clock here, which the guys come round, they wind. They have to come round every 14 days to get back to this one to rewind it. We've got the pilot light that's lit all the time. When the clock mechanism comes round, turns the main gas valve on, gas goes up, over the top, through the mantles, and the pilot then ignites the mantles.
Before gas and electricity, cities were dark places. In the 18th century, it was a brave person who ventured out without a servant to lead the way, with a lamp in one hand and a cudgel in the other. Those who could not afford to keep servants would pay a few coins to a link boy, named after their torch wits. These street urchins would walk ahead carrying a stick with a rag dipped in tar and set alight. Some were cut pursers, leading their customers into courts and alleyways and stealing what they could in the darkness. Before the Industrial Revolution, cloth was produced in cottages on looms by the light of candles in rural locations. It was the invention of the steam engine that demanded that the working day was extended and lighting improved to cover the size of the new factories. Before then, streets of Southampton were illuminated by oil lamps, with their numbers continually being increased to improve the street lighting. This did not succeed as expected, for the contractors were not particularly reliable. Some lamps were lit late or extinguished early, and others not lit at all. There were also complaints about the quality of the light from some lamps. In the 1800s, gas produced from coal started being utilised as a light source for both interior and exterior applications. It was in London's Pall Mall in 1807 that gas street lighting was demonstrated. Before the Gas Board, gasworks were both publicly and privately owned, with many small works across the country operated by technically competent gas managers rather than by experienced engineers. Gas street lighting first came to Southampton in 1819, making it one of the first towns to have a gas supply. A location was needed for their gas works and gasometer for the storage of the gas produced by distilling coal. Fear of an explosion so close to the town meant that some sites were opposed until a spot well away from homes was finally agreed in Northam, and a new 84-foot gas holder was built. Pipes were laid and the gas lamps themselves were supported on iron pillars donated to the town by local MP William Chamberlain of Weston Grove. A year later, the main streets had gas lamps that gave off a brighter light at night than had ever been seen before. In August 1821, donations for the purchase of a column with an inscription thanking Chamberlain, who was to become chairman of the gas company. Tickell's Foundry, which gave its name to Foundry Lane, made the memorial, which became known as the gas column. It was first erected in 1822 at the junction of New Road and Above Bar, then regarded as the entrance to the town. Originally there were 4 lamps to the 4 points of the compass, replaced by a large single lamp in 1825. However, the Hampshire Advertiser reported that the column was neglected, so it was moved in 1829 to the Town Quay, where it was thought that the light would be of great utility to shipping on our river. The harbour commissioners were charged with maintaining the column, but found this uneconomical and stopped lighting it, with the consequence that it was proposed to move it to the East Marlands, where it could illuminate an area frequented by robbers and thus afford the public some protection. But in 1865 it was moved again to Hanwell, before occupying an enduring residency at the middle of the roundabout by Debenham's department store, where Palmerston Road and Queensway meet. The monument remained there from 1957 until 2000, when the column was moved yet again to Hanwell Park, where it now stands as part of a major parks restoration scheme. By 1850, gas lighting was adopted by towns and cities across Britain. At first the lamps were lit by a lamp lighter who would set off at dusk and light the lamps using a wick on the end of a long pole, returning at dawn to extinguish the lamp using a small hook. Lamp lighting was an important job and a respected profession, often passed down the family. In 1823 in Southampton, the gasworks were taken over by a private company who ran it until 1848, when it was taken over by the Southampton Gas Light and Coke Company, who also took over the Shirley and Fremantle Gas Company. The company went on to celebrate its centenary in 1948, shortly before the gas industry was nationalised. However, the coming of electric lighting meant that most urban areas in the 20th century were covered by the national grid, from 6% in 1990 to about two-thirds in 1940. In London, almost all the lampposts have been raised above the height of traffic. Modern delivery vans and lorries are rather taller than horse-drawn carriages and sedan chairs. When a lorry occasionally does drive into a lamp, it is recast and put back exactly as it was. Lampposts of the gas-lit era can be seen in Southampton in front of St. Michael's Church and the Dolphin Hotel.